Hi everyone, it's time for Monday Musings again, and I've been having some more fun with dies. This is the newest one that I got. It's the Petal Drop by Tim Holtz, and at first I thought, well, this is really cool, but I don't know what I'll use it for. And then I started seeing a few examples, and I started thinking, and I came up with a few things. Home decor is really a growing area for artists who sell their work or who want to put their own handmade things in their homes. So what I did today was all home decor. Okay, so this is what I did with the Petal Drop. First of all, I took a Tim Holtz burlap panel, and I cut out, let's see, there are 3 petals on each dies, and I think I cut this out maybe 4 times, something like that. And my original idea was to have the whole flower, all the way around, even though I knew it was a big die and kind of a small panel. But then I decided to layer, and so I only did 3/4 of the flower. And I also used this Garden Greens die with it. And so here's what I came up with. Oh, and I want to show you what I used for the petals. This has been out a while, and I'm not sure if it's still available, but I've had it and I've always wanted to use it. It is a fabric backed by adhesive, and it's very thin, but it's fabric, and you can die cut it and you can stick it on. And so what I did was I die cut it with the backing on it, and then for my first couple of layers I took the backing off and I just wrapped it around the edges, and I stuck it down right to the burlap. Then after that I started using some very small pop dots. They're very, very thin, only about maybe 1/8 of an inch thick. And so then I started layering petals on for some depth. And what I used to outline these petals with, and I thought that I had it out with me, but I don't, but I used crushed olive distress ink around the edges of the petals, and then I used peeled paint in with the greenery. And the paper that I used, it was a basil, and again I'm trying to find, okay, this was a 2-sided piece, and I think it's basil, called mint chip, and it's got some embossing in it, and so I used the embossing to give me some texture in it by just rubbing the peeled paint around it. So then I took one of the gosh, why can't I remember what anything is called? Anyway, one of these. It says Live in the Moment, and I took spun sugar distress paint and I put it all over there, and then I wiped it off, and it stayed in the indentation where the sentiment is, and then it also kind of is smeared on the rest of it to give it that look. And I used some American Crafts burlap ribbon, and I took a white and a beige, and I twisted them together, and then I just wrapped it around and taped it and glued it back here. And this is a crocheted flower. I don't remember where I got it. I have had a few of them, and they just come in a couple of different sizes. I only have the white ones left, but if you can find them, they really make really nice embellishments for cards and for things like this. And I'm going to have to search for some more of them, because I've run out of all of my beige ones. And then this is just a button that matched. This is a bird that I got from on a card of a lot of birds I got from Michael's, and it was $1 a card, and there were probably 6 or 8 birds on there. And I also put spun sugar on there. And the same with this butterfly. I think I got it at Michael's, and it had like 8 or 10 butterflies on it for $3 or $4. And with this one, I took the spun sugar first, and then I took Victorian velvet and put it in some of the indentations, and then lastly I took aged mahogany and put the dark in there, so that gave it a lot of dimension. And I'm thinking that I might put some stickles on there, but I don't know, because all the rest of it is matte, so you know, it really wouldn't work. But what I could do is I could put some glossy accents on there, and in fact, let's do that. And that will, I mean, you know, it won't keep it matte, but it also won't add a, you know, glitter to something that doesn't need glitter. So let's put that on there. And I'm just going to rub it over there. And that will give it a shine that will step up those different colors of paint that I put on there. The paint is dry now. I did it a little while ago. And there we go. I think that looks pretty good. I like that. I'm glad we decided to do that. So this is one thing that I did with the petal drop. And this is a 5x7 burlap panel. The next thing I did is this one, and I just adore this one. I really do. I love how it turned out. And so, you know, I noticed that on the cover, it had the, I think it's Crowded Attic is the paper stack that this is from. Most of this is from. And I had some of that, and it also used, I noticed, the stitching. So what I did was I got from the Spring is Sprung stamp set that has the rabbit on there. This is some stitching that came from there, and so I just used some black archival ink, and I stamped my stitching. I used one of Tim Holtz's new arrow embellishments, and I took 2 petals and made a heart out of it. And then I stamped My Is In. So for My Heart Is In Art, and I love these new letter blocks. I just love them. What I don't like is that there's only one of each letter included. So you've got to really kind of know what you want to do with them, or maybe you want to use them for something where you're not really spelling out a word. But I spelled art because there's only one of each in there, and I love the dimension that this gave. And I put, what did I put around it? Let's see. Okay, I know. I edged the edges of the petal drops in black ink, either black soot or archival. I forget which. I had both of them out here. I'll make sure I didn't drop one of those letter blocks. But around the edge of the burlap, I used Chipped Sapphire Distress ink, and I have that one right here with me. I used this one. So that's what I used to put the edges around, and I also kind of carried it over on, you know, on all the edges. Okay, so that's what I did with that one. And then I made one more. This is like a 5x3 inch burlap panel, so I made this one as well. And this is the same. The reason that you can put this stitching on here and it looks like it's different colors is because it's using the papers at the back of the stash that have, here I've got some right next to me, that have the little squares, the little 2-inch squares. And you know, I always kind of wonder what to do with those, and I found a couple of different things to do with those. And like this, you know, it makes a patchwork. So, you know, I like these pages. At first I thought, oh, what am I going to do? That's kind of a waste. But now I've found that I really like those, the 2-inch square pages. There's a lot of different things you can do with them. So on this one, let me put this back over here. This one I used pumice stone to go around the edges of my heart petals. I cut out 4 pieces and I glued the bottom on there, and then I used those little thin pop dots again to put a double thickness on.